Active Diagnostic Codes option, we can look into the ECM and see if there are any active codes stored in memory. Shown here is a 11003. The 110 would represent the CID, or component identifier, and that component identifier would refer to the engine coolant temperature sensor. The 3 represents the FMI, or failure mode identifier, and that would refer to the open or short to battery of the engine coolant temperature sensor. Other information displayed above is no engine speed, which would mean the engine is not running but the key start switch is on, or the cold mode display, which means our coolant temperature is below approximately 140 degrees Fahrenheit. We can include other ECMs by clicking in the box at the lower right. Then we'll see the active fault codes for other ECMs located on the machine. When selecting the cylinder cutout test under diagnostic tests, we have the capability of checking the mechanical portion of the injector plus the other components of the cylinder, like the valve setting. Okay, to the right is the engine speed and injection duration, which is actually microseconds of engagement of the solenoid per injection. We have the fuel position, which is similar to the old rack setting on mechanical governor machines. And then we can actually test each cylinder individual by selecting a cylinder and clicking on change. Then you should see the fuel position and injection duration increase slightly to maintain the current RPM. You can cut out more cylinders by selecting a cylinder and selecting change, and you should be able to see your fuel position injection duration increase. Okay, we can power all the cylinders, and then we can do a automatic test by selecting the start button on the bottom. Then the ECM will disengage each cylinder one at a time, cut out each cylinder one at a time, and then it will sample the fuel rate, and then it will provide an injection duration. Now the injection duration should increase slightly for all the other cylinders so that they would maintain the current RPM if the cylinder was good. If the cylinder was bad, then there would be a lower injection duration displayed, because if it was already bad, the injection duration wouldn't have to increase to maintain the current engine speed. Okay, the ECM will continue sampling one cylinder at a time and provide the injection durations. Now ideally, there's not much fuel rate change when the machine is in neutral at low idle, so ideally if you were in torque converter stall with the transmission and gear and a load on the machine, we could get a much better difference between the injection duration, but that would potentially overheat the torque converter. So if you could maintain a constant throttle in gear and have the RPM about 1300, that would be the best testing procedure. But it would be very difficult to maintain a constant throttle position, and that would be very critical, otherwise the test would be invalid. Okay, so you can stop the test at any time by clicking on the stop button, and then the test will be terminated.